In this segment, we're going to take a tour of the contractor menu through the screen on the Ultra boiler. Take the upper and lower key, push them down at the same time, hold them down for 3 to 5 seconds. This is going to open up the contractor menu for you. Contractor menu. Boiler settings. Hit the Enter key. In the boiler setting portion of the control, you have the boiler model. You can set the boiler for high altitude or not. It's going to come from the factory as non-high altitude. It has a preset 200-degree limit built into the boiler. Every boiler that comes out of the factory has that limit built in. You're going to leave that at 200 degrees. The warm weather shutdown is preset from the factory at 70. This is adjustable. On any of these screens, if you want to adjust anything, when the highlighter is over it, if you hit the Enter key, it will bring up the value, and then you can make changes to it. After you make your change, you'll want to hit the center key, and it'll tell you that it just saved the change that you made to it. Below that, it has the opportunity for you to have what's called outdoor adjust. If there's any interference on the outdoor sensor cable and it throws the ohm value of the sensor off by a couple degrees, you have the capability to adjust plus 10 or minus 10 degrees to make sure that your outdoor sensor is sensing the correct temperature and reporting the correct information back to the boiler. Scroll down one more, type. Every Ultra leaving the factory is going to come as a type off. You have the capability to set the boiler up 4 different ways to work with different type of heating systems, 0 to 10 volt systems or other contact closure systems. Go back to the boiler settings screen. And the one below that is called time. This is the place where you would set the time when you're doing a multiple boiler system and tell the boiler how long you want it to wait, either to ask for help or to supply help. That's everything on the boiler settings screen. We'll go back, hit the arrow closest to the screen. We're going to drop down 1 to system setting and hit Enter. Boiler priority 1, boiler priority 2, boiler priority 3, circulator exercising, and freeze protect circulator. Under boiler setting 1 from the factory, it's going to be set at DHW direct. It's going to have 190-degree temperature setting. That's adjustable. You would just hit temperature, says 190. If you want to adjust that down to 180, you would make the adjustment and hit the saved key. 180, save it, and when the screen comes back up, you can see it made the change to 180 degrees. Differential on, differential off. They're preset from the factory at 5 degrees. That is adjustable. And we'll go back to the boiler priority 1 screen. Timing. Boiler priority 1 comes with preset timing of a 30-minute run time. So if the aquastat on your indirect fails or the circulator on your indirect fails, after 30 minutes, it will automatically switch over to the next priority that it sees. So after 30 minutes, if I have not satisfied my hot water demand, it will switch over to heat so we don't freeze up the home. Circulators, from the factory, under setting 1, it's going to operate 1 pump. There's 1 output on the control that it will turn on. You have the capability to run pump 2 and pump 3. All you would have to do is highlight them, go in, and you can turn the pump on if needed. If you did system type hot water, you would run pump 1 and pump 2 during a system type hot water demand. Under a direct hot water demand, you're just going to run pump 1, and that's how it comes set from the factory. There's an opportunity here to dial the rate of the boiler into the exact demand that the boiler will see. This 96% right here, that's the maximum input rate of the boiler, and there's a minimum input rate of the boiler. The rates are adjustable from 20% to 100% and everywhere in between. So you can dial the boiler in exact to match the heat emitter that it's going to. We'll click back. Priority 2 and priority 3 are basically the same. You have the same capabilities to do everything we just did under boiler priority 1. From the factory, it'll come set as fin tube baseboard, but here's all your different heat emitters. You can pick any one of these different style heat emitters and save it when you make a change. That automatically change your outdoor reset curve for you on its own. There's a timing mechanism here also. has a 15-minute minimum runtime, a 30-minute maximum runtime. That's also adjustable. Under circulators from the factory, it's going to turn on pump 2 and pump 3. If you need more pumps or less pumps, you can go in there and activate or deactivate them right here under circulators. Again, you can adjust the rate. We'll hit the back arrow, priority 3, same, and we'll go down to circulator exercising. From the factory, the boiler has circular exercising programmed in. Every 72 hours, if it does not see a heat demand, it will rotate the circulator so they don't seize up during non-usage. And they all come as on from the factory. Also, there's freeze protection for the circulators built in. And currently, from the factory, we only turn on pump 2, which is normally identified as the boiler pump. If you have hot water hooked up and you're using the third output on the boiler, it's not a bad idea to go in and just activate them 2 pumps. That way, if the boiler goes down below 38 degrees, it will run both of these pumps for you. And it's just as easy as scrolling over top of them, hitting the arrow up to the on, and hitting saved. And that's how easy it is to activate or deactivate a pump. We'll go back one screen. We're pretty much done under System Settings. We'll go back to the Contractor menu screen. Scroll down one to Diagnostics. The boiler has a built-in recorder, and it will record just about everything that's going on within the boiler at all times. So temperature, inputs, and outputs, that's a live screen. You can see exactly what the temperature is, what the inputs are, what the outputs are, live the minute you're looking at it. There's also an errors. Under errors, this is where the boiler will record control faults, ignition retries, manual reset counter, and an auto reset counter. Anytime the boiler goes into a lockout mode, it will keep adding to the counter. If it does an auto reset on its own, without the homeowner having to make a phone call to the contractor, it will count that for you. It also does a recording. If the boiler goes into a hard lockout, a manual reset, where you physically have to reset the boiler, it takes a recording. So under Error History 1, Lockout History 1, you're able to go into the boiler and it will tell you if it was a manual reset or an auto reset. This one says manual reset, yes. We hit the Enter key and it tells me that there was a temperature sensor error. And I can go back and go down to my temperatures and I can look at all the temperatures and try to identify what made the boiler fail. Everything on this screen has been recorded when the boiler locked out. Within 3 seconds of the boiler locking out, it recorded all that data. So you're able to go in here and utilize all this information to help troubleshoot the boiler. It records 3 histories. The history that you walk in on is Lockout History 1. The one that was number 1 moved to number 2. Number 2 moved to number 3. Number 3 is no longer available to you. So when you walk in, the one you're walking in on is Error History 1. This gives you the opportunity to go in and look at what may have locked the boiler out. This is going to be a very important screen for troubleshooting. All the information in the lockout portion is vital to troubleshooting. It records the inputs, it records the outputs, and it records all the temperatures, everything that was going on when the boiler failed. Okay? That's the error screen. There's a software version. This is not really going to help you in the field. This is just a way for Weil-McLain to know what software version you're working with if you ever need help. The next one down, manual test mode. Hit the Enter key. This is also a live chart basically of everything going on within the boiler. You'll see the flame signal, you'll see the RPM of the blower motor, you'll see the signal going to the blower motor, and down here at the bottom you're able to force the rate. Okay, just by pushing the up or down arrow, you can see it goes from low to auto to high to medium. You can lock the boiler into any firing rate that you would like to do your combustion testing. You lock it in the high flame, lock it in the low flame, hit the Enter key, the middle, it'll say saved, and it went from auto to saying high. If I want to change that, I want to do my combustion test now at low flame, hit the down arrow, get to the low, and hit saved, and it will now be at low again. If I do not put this back to auto, 10 minutes after I leave the job site, 10 minutes after I lock it into low, it will go back to auto on its own. So if you forget to do it and you're driving down the road, you don't have to turn around and go back. It will go back to auto on its own. Go back one screen under the Diagnostics again, and there's a manual reset. This is if you need to reset the boiler for any type of hard lockout, you would put it on manual reset and hit the button, and it will say, are you sure you want to manually reset the boiler? And you're going to tell it, yes, you do, and that's where you would reset the boiler. I'm going to click the back arrow to go back to Contractor menu. Maintenance information. This is pretty unique to the Ultra boiler. This is where you as a contractor can put in your company name, your company phone number. The boiler model is already in the screen, and you can add a CP number from the boiler, put it right into the screen. When you put down a date of installation, there's a reset reminder in here, preset at the factory at 12 months. 12 months from the day of installation, the boiler will communicate to the homeowner by displaying a red screen with a wrench in it. That red screen will tell the homeowner that their boiler needs to be maintained. The next screen that will come up will be this maintenance information screen, which has all the contractor information, phone number, and all the information about the boiler. So the homeowner will know to contact the contractor and have their boiler serviced. Next one down would be setting the date and time. This is just to get the boiler up to speed so that on the display, the homeowner screen, they'll be able to see the time and date across the top of the homeowner screen. And you can just set this, it's very easy. Just you're going to take and scroll up or down to change your dates. 2010. Set my month to whatever month you want to set it to, and set your day. And that will set your date, and then you can set your time, whatever you want it to be, and we just set the date, time, maintenance information. We just programmed this whole Ultra control. If I need to make any additional changes, I can just go back under any one of these items on the Contractor menu. If I'm all done, I've made all my adjustments to the boiler, I would just click it back, and I just programmed it into a maintenance reminder. That's what the maintenance reminder screen will look like. So that is a walkthrough of the whole U-Control using the keyboard on the display. You can walk through the control, do all your setup functions, do all your diagnostic troubleshooting using the U-Control.